Yo, it's me Elliot. Today I'm gonna show you how I made this artwork using Blender, Marvelous Designer and Dust Studio. Now we are inside Dust Studio and this is where I do all of my characters. And basically Dust Studio is like a seams. If you haven't seen my video called Elf Girls in Blender, you should definitely check it out because there I've showed the exact numbers you need to put here and there to achieve the same results as I do. So go check that video out and you'll be good to go. So that's how Pose looks inside Dust, and I think this is what I actually wanted to achieve. The goal of this artwork was to create something like angelic vibes, because this artwork was made for the 14th of February and I wanted to go with this heart-shaped vibe with a lot of, I don't know, fluffiness and love and tenderness involved. So yeah, that's what was the idea. What I would recommend also, if you start in like a new project, always go and gather some references, make some mood boards for you, because it will help tremendously. I've been like 1000 times in this same spot where I don't know what to do because I don't have like a solid mood board in front of me. And when you have a solid mood board or reference board in front of you, you work really fast and you work really efficient, I would say. So yeah, that's how my Dust scene looks like. What I need to do now is I need to export two poses of this character. So not like two poses, but basically I need to export posed one and T-posed one. And how to do so? So now I have posed character. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to File, Export, and I'm gonna select Collada. And I'm gonna call it something like Post, and I'm gonna press save, and then you just press save again. There's not much of important settings going on, so you just press save. But then what you need to do is you go to parameters, go 0 figure pose, and here you just export this one again, as well as Collada. And then you have two files, which is basically your T-pose model and post model, and then you can open your Marvelous Designer and start working on a garment. But actually I'm on a trial of Marvelous Designer right now. I'm not sure how to use it like 100% at the moment, but what can I say, like from the perspective I'm on right now, is that this software is amazing. And to be honest guys, clothes can be used like to envision your idea, and if you do like, I don't know, abstract things, try doing like some abstract clothes, try doing some 3D abstract clothes, and trust me, it will pay off. So we have our T-pose character here. What you need to do now is you need to go add avatar, you need to select your post avatar, so this one, and here you need to select load type add and object type avatar. One important thing here as well is scale, do not change it, just press OK. Now we have both of our characters inside this scene. What you need to do now is you need to export this character as a pose file. To do so, you just select this pose character, you go to File, Save As, and Save As Pose. And as you can see, I already have this file right here, and it looks like that. I've just named it pose.pose. Now we can delete our character, just hit backspace on your keyboard or delete. Now to actually simulate our garment, all you need to do is you select your character. Actually, I like to use GPU fast one, because it doesn't really make sense for me to use CPU, because recently I'm not noticing that much of a difference. If I'm wrong, correct me, but yeah, that's how it is for me. So what you do now is you just go to Open and open Pose. You select this pose and you select Pose and Joint Translation. And one thing is also you can check is Align Bottom to Ground. As you can see, it's simulated, it's not perfect. Obviously you need to go and simulate it again and move some parts out and maybe even reuse some of them. But yeah, that's just how it is. You should went through it, make it perfect, make it as you want it to be. So as you can see, this avatar is kind of like super low poly, which is not perfect for the garment. So what you might need to do after you done your garment, you just go to Des, So let's get back to post one. You just go to export is as OBJ file, and again I explained all of this in depth in my Elf Girls in Blender video, so yeah, consider checking it out. And so all you need to do is delete this low poly one, load the high poly one, and then simulate again so it will fit the high poly figure. And that's how the final scene looks like. I obviously added a bit of other like details. I've also expanded this corner here to make it more like a heart shape, and also simulated this area here to also make it like this heart shape, because the theme of this art is tender love. It's a bit of a angelic vibes on this one. And for the UV editor, what I did is, as I've said, I've made this UV layout, and basically all you need to do is, again, it will be just like that. You just drag and drop it in place till you have everything inside this square, inside this red and green lines square. And then all you need to do is just go to file. Before that, what I like to do is I like to delete my character. You go to file, export, FBX, and you export your FBX, and here I use Weld Thin. One important thing as well, use centimeters Dash Studio in the scale, because this model is a Dash Studio one, so we need to use scale of a Dash Studio. Here is the Substance Painter file, and it looks terrible due to some reasons with bacon, but you actually don't need bacon if you just gonna do like some height maps. But it actually super easy to do height maps on it. For example, again, what's cool, if you just exported FBX, you have all of your files here named. So basically gloves, go with gloves. All I did here is I've added fill layer with height, only height, and I've added this height map. You can find a lot of wool textures on the web. All you need to do then is just move the scale slider up or down. Okay, back in Blender. Here is the assembler stage begins. Oh, one cool thing I also done with Marvelous Designer is those wings. I've just made like couple of those wings and basically attached them to the model. Oh, and for the makeup, I've also used Substance Painter, so nothing too crazy going on here, just Substance for your textures. And I'm gonna show you how you can make your makeup inside Blender as well. Wait a sec. So once you load your basic texture into your file, into your Blender file, you'll have this. If you go to texture paint, you will have your model here and your texture here. Select the color you want. So maybe let's select something like that. And let's put some beauty marks on her face here and there. So maybe like that. Make sure to select your albedo map here, and then you can just start, I don't know, adding these beauty marks. Oh, let's make it a bit more saturated. Yeah, I think it works. Okay. But to be honest, I want to do like a proper video on makeup, how I do my makeup, what I trying to achieve with my makeups. So yeah, stay tuned for that as well. Okay, we added some beauty marks, and as you can see, it's added onto our texture here as well. To save it, you just go to this image and you go and select. You can just press save and it will rewrite your file, already existing file. But if you want to save it as a new one, you just go to save as. And I guess you wanted to know how I made these shapes, and I have like, I don't know, 5 or 6 videos already on my Patreon how I do this. Definitely check the Patreons out. A lot of content there already. My favorite part begins. What's that? It's composition. I'm always like super excited to bring lights into the scene, to make it pop, to like tell the stories using the light. And the first thing we're gonna be doing is setting up HDRI, as always. And for this time, what I've used, again, the same one, Photo Studio Broadway Hall 4K, because it just looks amazing for my taste. It connected to the background and strength, this time even lower than 0.1. What I've used here is 0.05. And let's turn off the lights for now and see how it looks without any lights. So that's how it looks without any lights. Okay, I have some gobos going on. Let's turn them off as well. So without any light, it looks like that. Obviously, we have some abstract shapes in our scene, and those spheres have a mission. in their principal BSDF shader, and they give some of the light, but it's not meant to create any light in the scene, so they are just for the shot. We're starting with gobos. 2 gobos I've used here just to create some 3-dimensionality in our scene, and then we are adding our main source of light, which is 45 degrees on top of your head. Like, really basic setup, but it just works, so why not using it? Second light is located on the left side of our model, and it works basically the same way as this one on top, but it just adds a bit more like warmness into the scene because it has a color. Yeah, right, it has a color like this, I don't know, red, orangey one. Next slide is a bit of an interesting one. I really like counter lights, and this one is not an exception. I use this counter light to kind of give even more depth into the scene. Okay, the next slide is located underneath our model, just to give some highlights on some parts of our image. And one more light that is located underneath. This time it's a big, soft, round disc light, they call it. Yeah, it's a disc light. You can select the shape of your light here, meant to create even more depth. And again, idea of this render is to be angelic as much as I can, and I think this light is really telling the story, the right story. And the final light is this small light. Again, it's not physically accurate, but since it adds so much to the scene, why not using it? It basically just makes this glass element pop a bit more, because without it, as you can see, it a bit on a darker side, but when we add it, it becomes a bit more brighter, and it really helps. Even though you may not notice it at first glance, but trust me, it helps. That was it. Nothing too crazy going on in this scene. As always, you just bring some lights, you start building your scene with your knowledge, with your, I don't know, with your vision, with all of those things, and trust me, you are the one, you are the creator, you know what to do. Just start doing, just gather some references, just put up some mood boards in front of you, you'll get there, you'll make some amazing art already today. So, thank you so much for watching. Definitely consider checking my social medias out, checking my Patreon out. I have a lot of content there. I have a lot of downloadable content that you can use in your own artworks as well. Check my Instagram out as well. I have 2 of them. Both of them you'll find in the links below. And yeah, again, thank you so much for watching. Have an amazing time creating art. It was me, Laliet, and bye.